Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Dragon has always been a character shrouded in mystery, and now that the revolutionaries are literally surrounding Mary Geoise and cutting off supplies, I think the moment we've all been waiting for, Dragon finally taking real action, is closer than ever. Maybe CP0 won't even have time to finish chewing a cookie before the first gust of wind sweeps through the so-called sacred skies of the celestial dragon. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. If you think about it, the manga's been building up to this moment for ages. The first time Dragon showed up with the wind blowing behind him was way back in chapter 100, when he saved Luffy in Logtown. Maybe that wind has always been a sign, not just of the weather shifting, but of something deep within him as well. Because if Dragon is a user of some weather-based devil fruit, something tied to wind, or an uncontrollable force of nature, it would make perfect sense. And now is the perfect time to reveal that power. Everything's lining up. Imu has appeared, the Geoise are on the move, the world is in chaos, the Marines are spread thin, and Mary Geoise, the heart of it all, is under siege. So if Dragon's ever going to make a move that shows who he really is and what he's capable of, it's now. He's been laying the groundwork for this offensive the entire time, gathering revolutionaries, tearing down government outposts, inspiring islands to rise up. And now, he's at the gates of the world's capital, with a golden opportunity to strike both symbolically and practically. If there's ever a moment for him to reveal his devil fruit, this is it. Chapter 10. 95 was the first time we saw Saturn in action, transforming into something that probably ties back to Imu's deeper nature. Since then, the story's tone has shifted. It's gotten more intense. The revolutionaries are no longer just gathering, they're already in strategic positions. By chapter 1104, that was clear, and in chapter 1113, when the world started to realize something was off in Egghead, that ripple effect reached Mary Geoise too. The tension spiked, and in chapter 1120, when we see the celestial dragons truly feeling vulnerable for the first time, unsure of where the attack is coming from, maybe that's because they finally realized they don't control everything after all. I think Dragon is just waiting for the right signal. Maybe it's the moment Luffy escapes Egghead, or maybe it's when the world learns the truth about Nika, Joy Boy, and everything the government's tried to bury. If Dragon moves too early, without context, it might look like just another rebellion. But if he strikes as the world begins to doubt the government on its own, that's when he becomes the symbol of change. And when he reveals his devil fruit, it won't just be a twist, it'll mark the beginning of a new chapter in world history. Maybe his fruit is the Fufu no Mi, or something tied to wind or atmospheric control. That would be poetic. Every time he shows up, the weather shifts, and not just the skies, but the story's tone too. It rained suddenly in Logtown. In Baltigo, before the base was destroyed, the wind carried messages. Every time he appears, there's a climatic signal. So maybe he doesn't just use weather as a weapon, but as a message. And now, with Mary Geoise under the weight of the sky, a storm rolling in from the outside would be a perfect symbol that their time is up. If he really does have that kind of power, it could affect everything. Security systems, celestial dragon escape routes, fleeing ships, the clouds concealing Mary Geoise, all of it. Maybe Dragon can even manipulate air pressure, make it harder to breathe, jam communications. He wouldn't need a destructive power, just one that disrupts, that destabilizes, which fits how he's operated so far. Silent, precise, strategic. Chapter 11, 47 revealed that Imu is already using powers that involve demonic contracts and transformation. The idea that Imu is tied to forbidden powers, or even the origin of devil fruits, is starting to make more sense. And if that's the case, maybe Dragon's fruit comes from a special lineage, possibly one that was banned in the past, a fruit that represents freedom, the exact opposite of everything Imu stands for. Because if Luffy's fruit symbolizes joy, laughter, and total physical freedom, maybe Dragon's fruit symbolizes freedom on a global scale, the natural flow of things. And I think Dragon might be waiting for the people to rise up first. He doesn't want to just storm in and destroy everything. He wants his image to mark the beginning of a new era. So when he flies over Mary Geoise, yeah, flies, because with this kind of power, he's got to have wings of wind or something. Maybe he won't even need to touch the ground. He'll just need to change the sky. And in One Piece, when the sky changes, the whole world feels it. Maybe Sabo already saw this power partially in action at Lulusia. A lot of people think it was Imu who destroyed the island with some sky-based weapon. But what if Dragon tried to stop it and failed? What What if the rain that fell before the island vanished was a sign of him trying to intervene? It might sound crazy, but One Piece has always dropped little clues like this. And now that Luffy is shaking the foundations of the world, it makes perfect sense that his father would do the same, from a different front. And one more thing, I don't think Dragon will fight an admiral or a Geoise right now. Not yet. He'll use his powers to flip the logistics, to choke Mary Geoise from the inside, confuse them, disorient them, weaken their structure. Then, when the celestial dragons have nowhere to run and no one to protect them, that's when he'll step in personally. That's when the world will finally see his devil fruit in full force. Because just punching your enemy isn't enough. You have to change the pace of history, and Dragon knows that. So if he does show up now and reveal who he really is, his power has to reflect what he stands for. Change, freedom, revolution. And Wind is exactly that. Invisible but impossible to ignore. And now that Mary Geoise is surrounded, cut off from supplies, with their own protectors busy elsewhere, and a growing atmosphere of fear, maybe Dragon's already up there, watching, waiting for the perfect moment to blow the world in a new direction. But now that Imu-sama is starting to reveal their true power, things might get even more dangerous for the revolutionaries, because no matter how long Dragon's been planning this attack, and no matter how strong he is, let's not forget he's going up against the ones who own the board. The introduction of the monstrous Geoise and Imu's reality warping powers have thrown everything into chaos. The balance of power has never been more unstable. And even if Dragon attacks at the perfect moment, there's still a real chance the revolutionaries could lose. Just imagine this. They finally break through the barriers, the wind howls, defenses collapse, the celestial dragons panic, and then, right in the middle of it all, a power shows up that no one saw coming. Something ancient, something that doesn't follow the rules of devil fruits as we know them. What if Imu's power isn't just destructive, but absolute? A kind of dominion that cancels out even the freedom Dragon stands for. That would change everything. Because Dragon doesn't fight alone, he carries an ideal, and if that ideal gets crushed right at the doorstep of victory, the impact would be devastating. For the world, for the people who've started to rise up, even for Luffy, who's trying to free Egghead at the same time. The world could fall back into fear. And maybe that's exactly the Geoise's plan. Let Dragon strike. Let the world see him, recognize him as a real threat, just to crush him publicly and tighten control through fear. That's why this battle isn't just about power. It's about the story, about symbolism. Dragon might be the man of the wind, but now he's facing something that could be the void itself, a force that erases, that rewrites. So the question shifts. Is the world ready to watch the revolution lose? Maybe it won't be a total defeat. Maybe Dragon's counting on that even if he falls, he'll light the spark, that the world will witness his sacrifice and understand what's at stake. Maybe that's his real move, to trigger the ultimate reaction. Because if he goes down fighting the gods of the world, he becomes legend. And legends are a lot harder to erase than men. At the same time, Imu's presence changes everything. What we saw in chapter 1147 hints at a power beyond anything we've known. And if it's true that Imu can bend the laws of existence themselves, then even the weather, Dragon's domain, might not be safe. And suddenly, the fight becomes something else. It's not just wind versus darkness, it's freedom versus erasure. The world trying to breathe against something that wants to suffocate everything. So even if Dragon holds the most symbolic power of all, he still might not win, and maybe that's okay. Maybe that's just the beginning of the next phase. Because when hope dies in front of everyone, people either give up or they finally rise. And maybe that's what Dragon's really after, not to win with one strike, but to ignite the final spark of resistance. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.